Hey, good evening, everyone from the USA, all over the world, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the 5 spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, aka Lonely Nomad, aka the Gregonator, aka the Unstoppable Independent Podcaster, YouTuber, host with the most, and rookie podcaster of Queens, New York. And you are now listening and rocking with the 11th episode of Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast Sports Edition show. And we got a jam-packed show for you today. Now, first and foremost, if you missed any previous episodes, this is for the listeners and the people in the YouTube universe. You missed any previous episodes, don't worry, I got you back. All you need to do is go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Which is Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast Sports Edition show. Make sure you enable alerts, which is the notification bell, so you can be reminded when the show goes in the air via live stream. Also, you want to make sure you stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes. Leave a like and a comment along with the topics in the episodes. Share the episodes, share the videos, tell a friend to another friend, and I will go over the audio streaming platforms on the go at the end of the show. Now, how I'm doing mentally, physically, and spiritually so far. So far, I'm actually doing awesome overall, actually, and I'm still soaking in the fact that I recently had 2 people on my show as guests, and it turned out to be an amazing episode that I will never forget, because it's been a long time since I actually had somebody as a guest and to co-host with me. It's been so long, but in the future, hopefully I'll be able to maybe make an announcement on my Instagram show page of Off the Meat Rack Chains New York podcast, to actually look for someone who wants to be a co-host for my show. I don't know when I'm gonna put up the announcement, but it's more like a wait and see. So overall, mentally, physically, and spiritually, I am doing excellent. Like the title in the show right here. Yeah, man. Um, now we're gonna go to our main segment, which is the quick bleacher sidebar. All right. Now this is where we actually go over the trending topics of what's going on in sports today, as far as football. There's basketball, there's baseball, tennis, volleyball, and so much more. So there you go. That's the overall of the segment. So let's get into this right now. Our first main topic has to do with a person who goes by the name of Tyler Lockett. All right. Now, okay, so it floored one of the quickest, slickest Seahawks of his era. It was very exhausting. I could barely move. Um, so this is basically so Seahawks, Tyler Lockett and DJ Reed, 49ers, Raheem, um, Raheem Mostert. No, no, COVID isn't a joke. Um, yes, um, it floored one of the quickest, slickest Seahawks of his era. It was very exhausting. I couldn't barely move. Speedy wide receiver Tyler Lockett said, hold on a second, folks. Yeah. Yeah. So Tyler Lockett said of having um recently contracted COVID-19. My throat was hurting. I had chills. My chest was hurting. I was very, very anxious. My mind was just wandering because I was probably thinking too much. I was throwing up. I threw up the first day a couple times, but just once after that, I just had no energy. So I was barely eating. DJ Reed is 25 years old, like Lockett in the prime of his athletic life. He also was flattened by having the coronavirus through last week. That COVID isn't a joke. Seattle starting um what is it cornerback said. So you better mask up and stay your distance. Lockett lost 8 pounds in seven days while he was out with COVID. The record setting receiver, Reed, and everyone in the NFL are among the most elite, well trained, and conditioned athletes on earth. So much for this, so much for the idea of some COVID is merely like a bad cold or the NFL. The idea NFL players are too young and in too good of a shape to spend time and effort protecting themselves from the coronavirus or worry about getting it. Reed knows differently. Man, I was hurting. Seattle's right cornerback said last weekend. That was after he overcame more fatigue than usual, playing his first game back off the reserve COVID-19 list and grabbed two interceptions in the Seahawks win over Detroit last week. I had to get tested because I had a bad headache. I was about to go to the ER, Reed said. It was really a migraine. My head was throbbing, so I called my girl because she was in LA and she said, "Don't go to the ER. Just try try just to relax." Let me see. I took some Tylenol or whatever and I was able to hold on a second, folks. Give me 1 second. Hold on a second. Um, okay. I took some Tylenol or whatever, and I was able to go to sleep. But I was tested. Wait, where's the key? I was, but I tested and was positive. That was on December 19th. He went on the COVID list 2 days before the Seahawks rescheduled the game at the Los Angeles Rams. Reed missed Seattle's loss December 21st that essentially ended the team's slim playoff hopes. Then he missed the home loss to Chicago 5 days later that officially eliminated the Seahawks. I had a sore throat, Reed said, continuing his list of issues from the coronavirus despite being vaccinated late this spring. So my head was hurting. The next day, I had a sore throat. I had some congestion in my chest. I was spitting up mucus. And then the next day, I started coughing. It was a swirl of things. So it was definitely serious for me. Thursday, the Seahawks put fellow defensive back Ryan Neal, who has been starting at strong safety since Jamal Adams had season ending shoulder surgery last month, on the COVID-19 list. Wednesday, starting defensive tackle Al Woods went on it too. Starting left guard Damian Lewis and Sidney Jones, Reed's partner starter at left cornerback, came off the COVID list Thursday. Friday, Coach Pete Carroll said the team should get defensive and um, Alton Robinson back from the COVID list. Saturday, in time for him to play Sunday in the season finale at Arizona, the state that on Wednesday set a new pandemic high, or slamdemic high, for um room visits from people with confirmed or suspected cases of COVID-19. Robertson is 23 years old, Seattle's second year defensive, and had tested positive for the coronavirus each day this week since Monday. Raheem Mostert is living through another reason most NFL players remain at risk from COVID-19. Why the league continues to test asymptomatic and vaccinated players, a bet now only at random once per week per team, and why Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, Carroll, and the Seahawks, other leaders have said they've been trying to remain vigilant for going on 2 full years, protecting themselves from getting it, to protect their families at home. The wife of Mostert, the San Francisco 49ers running back, posted on social media Thursday at terrifying account of what getting COVID did to their 3-year-old son. Devon Mostert posted a photo of their young boy in an ambulance, his small hand in hers. After I called 911 because he was lethargic, skin was gray, lips were purple, and had a 103.5 temperature. I'm crying even as I'm typing this. This is all so scary. We are thankfully back home, but my family is very much in the thick of it. I'll update you more soon. But this is literally my cry for you to take COVID seriously. Um, Lockett considered it no small accomplishment. He came back from a long week of having COVID to play no, excuse me, 3 days after he first tested negative again to play January 2nd against Chicago. I was just tired and exhausted, like I said. I don't want to say I had breathing problems, but I couldn't fully breathe out of my chest like I wanted to. You you know how you just get that big air? Sometimes I got it, sometimes I didn't. Again, I felt like I was good with breathing. It was just very unfortunate. Excuse me. Very unfortunate. I was out for a whole week. We had a big game versus the Rams that kind of determined whether we could go to the playoffs or not. Like I said, it became a mental challenge to get through the coronavirus and off the COVID-19 list. That's because he tested every day after his positive result, which came the day after a negative test at Seahawks headquarters in Renton. I couldn't play, he said, so I had to sit there and watch as well as get tested positive every single day. But I got this IV, the monoclonal antibodies thing. I had gotten that on Wednesday, and that's when I really started feeling great. He tested negative the following day. Lockett was asked if having COVID-19 has changed how he views the NFL's changing protocols late last month and the league's handling of the coronavirus the last 2 seasons during the slamdemic. It makes you frustrated, Lockett said, because when you've dealt with the symptoms of COVID-19 and you've seen how it was on you, um, it's like we really don't know how it's going to affect other people. For me, yeah, it sucks seeing people say, "Is Tyler going to play? Is Tyler going to play? I need him to help my fantasy team. I'm just trying to make it through this." People forget, people just see COVID-19 as whatever. But if you actually get it, or you go through it, or other people in your family go through it, you see how detrimental it is. And you see how people do die from this stuff. Um he's right. I have to agree with Tyler Lockett. I have to agree. Like, and I said this before on my other show, actually. Um, I actually said this before, actually. So let me just put myself on screen. I said this in my first number one podcast um days ago, that nobody in the whole human race is invincible to a disease like COVID-19 or the Omicron or any other type of variants whatsoever. So, and like I said, man, um, please be mindful of the people that you surround yourself with, because if you're not feeling well, whatever, go get checked out and, you know, get some rest, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the regular antibodies that we have right now, it's not going to stand. It's not going to stand a chance against multiple variants that we're dealing with. This is a long uphill battle, folks. So, this is not a laughing matter right now. This is some serious shit. You know what I'm saying? So just keep this in mind. All right. Our next topic has to do with okay, we're gonna talk we're going to talk the we're gonna talk about the wait a second here. Wait a second here. Um Hold on a second. So I was gonna talk about, yes. I've been saving this for a while, and this is in regards to Laker fans who always complain. So, according to Audacity.com, this is of course talking about Laker fans are apparently a hard group to please when it comes to on court calls, according to a recent study. Los Angeles fans were found to be the league's biggest complainers regarding officiating, according to a study from betonline.ag, which used a month of Twitter data to track negative tweets about referee calls among each NBA team supporters. But before you jump on the Lakers hate train, Sports Illustrated points out Lakers fans likely earn the top spot because the Lake the Lake Show has the largest fan base in the NBA. Right behind the Lakers was the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets. And on the bottom of the list is the Poland Trail Blazers. Lakers head coach Frank Vogel hasn't been shy about calls he doesn't like. Earlier this season, Vogel said he contacted the league about how little free throws he felt Anthony Davis was getting, accounting to CBS Sports. Yeah, it's one thing. It's one thing to have a passion for um a sport like basketball, and and it's it's another thing to actually be, you know, it's another thing to actually, overdo it. Because when you overdo it, sometimes I get the frustrations of some referees and stuff like that, but they're human too, and they have a hard job that they have to do. You know what I'm saying? like everything is not gonna be in your favor, folks. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I just say this because I've seen it dozens of times, especially if I'm watching football games. It's always gonna be fans that's gonna be booing and shit like that. So I mean, that's just how it is, man. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah. So yeah, let's yeah, we're gonna talk yeah, we need to talk about the best trolls of 2021 college football season. Um okay, so plenty of adjectives can be thrown out to describe the 2021 college football team. Wildly entertaining, exhilarating, hectic, maybe could even say historic. Those are all valuable options, but these two words could also summarize this year on the college gridiron. Terrifically trolled. Playful jabs thrown at opposing teams have become a mainstay in college football. Many universities flex their social media muscles with memes, um, GIFs, and creative graphics to antagonize their foes. Even the college football playoffs national championship had some social media action. Big Al's pregame post for the Alabama Crimson Tide didn't age as expected, and Atlanta Braves mascot blooper took advantage of being a neutral party. Let's relive some of the more memorable instances of trolling from the 2021 season. Mascot Madness, the season's chapter of Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin's well documented relationship, was not short on entertaining antics. However, most of the interesting action occurred off the field as Bombers' decisive 41-21 win over the Rebels was far from a nail biter. On the Crimson Tide's sideline, Big Al dressed as a Loki variant marveled at the scoreboard. What? Oh man, marveled. This is crazy, man. That's crazy. Marveled. Hold on a sec. Um, yeah. The mascot's the mascot's next costume was a direct response to Kiffin's pre-game interview. Kiffin later apologized for saying, in quote, "Get your popcorn ready," but not before Big Al made another bold fashion statement. Oh my gosh. And it's also, oh my gosh. And this person looks like Big Al dressed up just for Matt Scalic Scalixi. Damn. Damn. Anyway, Big Al also brought his popcorn just for Lane. Oh shit. After battling Brutus the Buckeye earlier in the season, the Oregon Duck, one of college football's most beloved mascots, took internet trolling to another level at the expense of Washington's mascot, Harry the Husky. The Duck heckled Harry all week, starting with the Oregon mascot impersonating Harry's Twitter account. What? While pretending to be the Husky, the Duck posed plenty of tweets praising his school and even posted a photo of Washington's mascot dressed in an Oregon football jersey. Okay, that's not really cool. Um After reverting back to his own account days later, the Duck continued with the jabs at Harry until game day, and then left a final reminder for the Husky after his team beat Washington 26-16. Oh my gosh. Um, this is crazy. The civil conflict trophy went missing in October 2016, while the whereabouts of the original trophy remains unknown. UCF debuted a new piece of hardware, much to the chagrin of UConn. Damn. The Huskies threw some shade ahead of the game, but the Knights had the last laugh. Michigan versus Michigan State is one of the fiercest rivalries in college football. Tennessee Titans offensive tackle and Wolverines alum Taylor Lewan gave a passionate speech about his alma mater's chances against its in-state rival before the game. But after Michigan rallied from 16 down in the second half to beat Michigan, the Spartans' social media made sure Lewan ate the words he said just days prior. Although Stanford finished in the regular season 3-9, one of those wins came against then number 3 ranked Oregon in week 5. The Ducks had a 99.9% chance of winning with under 2 minutes left in the game. Then chaos ensued as the Cardinal scored a touchdown on an untimed down during the game's final drive to tie the game. In overtime, Stanford scored on the opening possession and stopped Oregon's offense on its first drive to secure the 31-24 victory. Nike is apparel sponsor for the Ducks, and its founder, Phil Knight, is Oregon's biggest booster. The Cardinals' Twitter account used the company's famous SNKRS app to rub in the top 10 upset a little more after the contest. Ohio State and Michigan met for the game on November 27th, and the Wolverines dominated with over 200 yards rushing as a team and a 5 touchdown performance from Hassan Haskins. Their 42-27 win over the Buckeyes was head coach Jim Harbaugh's first in the rivalry since he was hired in 2015, and Michigan's first against Ohio State in a decade. As the post-game celebrations took place, the Michigan Police Department offers some traffic advice for departing travelers via its Twitter account. It's also managed to land one final job at Ohio State. Ah, Tennessee Volunteers fans expressed their displeasure by throwing objects on the field in the final minutes against Ole Miss. The game was paused for about 20 minutes, and Rebels coach Lane Kiffin was struck by various items, including a mustard bottle. Ole Miss social media, no, excuse me, social team had a lighthearted response to fans in Knoxville littering the field. Ha! the, the fucking meme, Mr. Potato Head hates it when people litter. Oh wow. Unofficially billed as the Manning Bowl, bragging rights weren't the only thing at stake when the alma matters of Peyton and Eli Manning clashed. Ahead of the game, Eli offered a friendly wager to his older brother. Oh boy. On the Mannings' next Monday Night Football telecast, Peyton held up his end of the bargain, trolling traditions. Oh gosh. This was a reunion game for Notre Dame quarterback Jack Cohn, who was the starter for the 2019 Wisconsin Badgers team that reached the Big Ten championship. Unfortunately, Cohn exited early with an injury, but freshman Drew Penn picked up right where the graduate transfer left off. An impressive offensive effort and dominant defense allow Fighting Irish to cruise to a 41-13 victory. Notre Dame's social media reveled in the win with a post that poked fun at Wisconsin's jump around tradition. Okay. Virginia Tech's Enter Sandman is one of the most popular entrances in college football, but Notre Dame continued its habit of spoofing well known traditions. After getting benched for his play in the first quarter, Cone redeemed himself in the game's final act. With 2:26 remaining, Cone and Cole um, cashed in on a touchdown and 2-point conversion to tie the game at 29 points apiece. The Hokies offense, no, excuse me, yes, offense went 3 and out in 30 seconds on the next drive. Cohen and the Fighting Irish, can't believe that's the name of the team, 45 yards, drove 45 yards in 7 plays to set up the go ahead field goal. Notre Dame's social team supplied a fitting rendition of the Hokies' aforementioned practice. Former West Virginia wide receiver David Sills V made headlines in 2018 by making a horns down gesture, which directly mocks the Longhorns' well known hand sign. The two teams met in week 12 of this season. The WVU came out on top 31-23, knocking the Longhorns out of bowl game consideration. After the game, wide receiver Bryce Ford Wheaton posted a photo of Sills making the infamous horns down sign and got a shout out from his fellow mountaineer. Okay. Arizona State managed to erase a 14-point deficit en route to a 5-point victory over Washington in Week 10. The momentum shift came from the Sun Devils 20-play 81-yard drive that lasted over 9 minutes and resulted in a touchdown. They sub no excuse me. They subtly trolled their fellow Pac-12 foe after completing the comeback. For the culture, in week 11, Kansas exercised a lot of demon against Texas. It snapped an 8-game losing streak, a 56-game losing skid to Big 12 opponents, and won for the first time in Austin, Texas. The Jayhawks had many tweets that summed up their upset win, but this one, using a scene from the hit TV comedy The Office, perfectly described the team's mood that day. Damn. Missouri's trolling was at its best after it defeated Florida in a 24-23 thriller. For those who don't know, former Gators head coach Dan Mullen wore a Darth Vader costume to the news conference after his team defeated the Tigers in 2020. Missouri didn't forget a year later, as its Twitter account reminded Florida about the positive powers of the Force. Even Tigers head coach Eli Drinkwitz got in on the action, putting up his hood Jedi style and brandishing a toy lightsaber as he felt No, as he left the post-game news conference. um, Mizzou was also on the receiving end of social media barb, courtesy of Boston College. It started when Drinkwitz commented on the matchup from an entertainment and recruiting perspective early in the week. End quote. If I had my pick of it, I would love to play a regional matchup that was maybe more of a rivalry game that'd be a little bit more exciting for recruits to watch from a TV perspective. I don't know the last time Missouri signed a kid from the great state of Massachusetts, Drinkwitz said per Saturday down south. The road trip didn't end well for the Tigers as they fell to the Eagles 41-34. Boston College's social media team used a meme of Michael Jordan from ESPN's The Last Dance to show how it felt about Drinkwitz's words. Oh my gosh. In the 2021 Outback Bowl, Arkansas scored 17 points in the third quarter and shut out Penn State in the second half en route to a 24-10 victory. The team dominated the Nittany Lions on the ground, rushing for 353 and 3 touchdowns. The Razorbacks used this bowl game sponsor Outback Steakhouse for their Australian-inspired troll job. They used a quip from the movie Kangaroo Jack to display how their football squad took down its opponent. Oh man. Honorable mentions. Cincinnati season was historic on many fronts, and defeating a, a then top 10 team in Notre Dame was a statement victory. It's even better when it comes against the coach who left your school to coach his current now former one. Brian Kelly coached the Bearcats to a 34-6 record from 2006 to 2009, but left for Notre Dame, which didn't sit well with Cincy players at the time. After Cincinnati secured the 24-13 win in Week 5, the school brought back a potent quote. Kelly said, when introduced in 2006 back to social media as a reminder of which school is the place to be. Turns out neither school is, as Kelly is now the head man at LSU after inking a 10-year, $95 million deal in December. Michigan State used comic book covers to preview its games against opponents, and some of them turned out to be prescient. Take these artistic illustrations of Sparty against the mascots from Maryland, Michigan, and Penn State. Let's see. Other times they weren't, as these covers featuring Purdue and Ohio State demonstrate. Michigan State lost those two games by a combined score of 96 to 36. Yeah. So that's probably it for this topic. We're gonna go to the next topic. Next topic is going to be based on. Hang on a second, man. Next topic is going to be about. Hang on a second here. Hold on. Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so Aaron Rodgers COVID comments timeline of Packers quarterback vaccine drama from immunized to COVID toll. Um, from misleading vaccine comments to COVID toll, Aaron Rodgers had quite a couple of months. The Packers quarterback placement on the COVID-19 list earlier this season proved to be um, proved to be um yeah wait um wait a second proved to be a catalyst for a hectic November. Rodgers came under fire for his deceptive comments regarding his vaccination status, though the quarterback didn't help matters in press conferences that followed. Um, Rodgers spent a minimum time of on the COVID list, missing just a single game after contracting the virus in early November. But inflammatory remarks by Rodgers and a few battles with the media that followed, the time dealing with the aftermath has been anything but minimum. Here's what went down. Um, okay, so yeah, this is prior. Okay, so August 26th, during a preseason press conference, Rodgers answers a question regarding his vaccination status. While it's an innocuous answer, it would later prove to be one of the first signs that Rodgers um hadn't been vaccinated. Yeah, I've been immunized. Rodgers said during the preseason. There's a lot of conversation around it around the league, and a lot of guys who have made statements and not made statements. Owners who have made statements. There's guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated. I think it's a personal decision. Um, can I tell you something? Can I tell you something, folks? I get that it's a personal decision, but you can't privatize public health. You know what I'm saying? You cannot privatize public health. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just I get the fucking the fucking fact that people get judged or whatever. I get that shit. But at the same time, like, come on, man. Like, we're going on 3 years of this fucking slandemic mess. And I don't think anybody wants to be a part of the economic tsunami phase when everybody loses their jobs and unemployment goes on a rise too. That shit is not worth it, man. Take this shit seriously, man. This shit is not a joke. Especially to Aaron Rodgers too, man. That shit's not a joke too. Um yeah, anyway, I'm not going to judge those guys. Rodgers' immunized comments seemed to slip under the radar at the time. While the quarterback said he had protection against the coronavirus, he didn't explicitly state he had received a COVID-19 vaccine. Oh boy. November 3rd, fast forward 3 months, and Rodgers is ruled out for a week 9 matchup versus the Chiefs after being placed on the COVID-19 list. While vaccinated players have an opportunity to play under the league's guidelines, players can test negative twice to be deemed eligible to play. Rodgers is ultimately ruled out, leading to questions surrounding his vaccination status. Well, yeah. Um. So, um, November 5th, the interview that rocked the NFL world, Rodgers opens up on the Pat McAfee show and covers a lot of ground on his vaccine stance. Some of the more pertinent points from the interview. Rodgers says that the Packers organization knew his vaccination status. Rodgers repeatedly said that the media and league are trying to shame and out people who are unvaccinated. Rodgers disagrees with some of the NFL's protocols, including mask wearing in certain settings. Rodgers says he consulted controversial podcast host and um, comedian Joe Rogan as to how to handle the virus. Rodgers blamed cancel culture and the whole woke mob for coming after unvaccinated individuals. Rodgers says he took hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, two unapproved methods of the treatment for the coronavirus. Let me tell you something, man. You fucking idiots, Joe Rogan and Aaron Rodgers. Y'all motherfuckers. Hold on. Hold on. Y'all motherfuckers are not doctors, okay? Y'all not fucking scientists and shit. So why the fuck are you taking fucking horse medicine? Horse medicine. out of all out of all things. Horse medicine is not for fucking diseases like that. And if you know the shit is illegal, why are you fucking taking it? That shit makes no sense to me. I don't understand this shit, man. And that's what I call being careless, man, and not being mindful. Um, yeah, that's crazy, man. Um, oh my gosh. November 9th, in something in of an about face, Rodgers apologized for his misleading COVID-19 comments, taking full responsibility for his omissions. Again on the Pat McAfee show. Um, okay, so he said in quote, um, I acknowledge that I made some comments that people might have felt were misleading, Rodgers said. To anybody who felt misled by those comments, I take full responsibility for those comments. Rodgers also says he consulted Joe Rogan and about a dozen friends as to how to handle COVID-19. November 15th, Rodgers tries to move past his COVID-19 comments after returning to the field in week 10. The Packers beat the Seahawks 17 to zip. I'm just focused on the support that I got. And it was deep and wide and greatly appreciated, Rodgers said. There's always going to be criticism in the world. I don't define myself by the criticism, but I understand it's part of this because this issue is definitely polarizing. November 23rd. In his weekly spot of the Pat McAfee show, Rodgers says he's suffering from COVID toe, a medical condition that actually exists. It's an after effect of those who have actually contracted coronavirus. While Rodgers states it's pretty plainly, it's later revealed he was joking about the diagnosis. Ah, man. November 25th, Rodgers clears the air about the COVID toe. It's actually just a fractured toe, unrelated to his bout with the coronavirus. In a Zoom meeting, Rodgers gives reporters an up close and personal look at the alien phalange. Shh. Oh boy. November 28th, in a matchup with the Rams, Fox play-by-play man Joe Black Sly Lie works in an immunized joke regarding Rodgers' injured pinky toe. Oh gosh. So Aaron is telling us that he's had that toe immunized against the pain, Buck says, presumably with a very large grin. November 30th, Rodgers again takes shots at the media for misinterpreting the COVID toe saga, calling the media opportunistic and disingenuous, um, disingenuous. The Packers quarterback demands an apology for what's been written about him. Hmm. Okay, is Aaron Rodgers vaccinated? During the offseason, Rodgers told reporters that he was immunized against the coronavirus, adding that it's a personal choice should one decide to get or not get the vaccine. It's public health, you crazy idiot. Yeah, I've been immunized, Rogers said during the press conference. There's there's a lot of conversation around it, around the league, and a lot of guys who have made statements and not made statements, owners who have made statements. There's guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated. I think it's a personal decision. I'm not going to judge those guys. Yeah, right. The immunized comment was an interesting answer, and the question was a bit vaguely worded. so, um, so the okay, it was the reporter asked Rogers what his stance on vaccination is and if he's been vaccinated, but not specifically the coronavirus vaccine. But Rogers' vaccination status was confirmed with the quarterback out for week 9. NFL Network reporters Ian Rappaport and Mike Garofalo had the story. Rogers explained in the past he had homeopathic treatments done to counteract the coronavirus, but the NFL's doctors rejected Rogers' research and remedies, rendering his status as an unvaccinated player. Well, well, I really don't agree with his methods, but this is just the horse management shit. I'm sorry, man. That's a fucking no, man. Um, yeah. So let's see. Let's see. One of the stories was about LeBron James, right? Um, so so of course this was oh boy. Can we skip this ad for a bit? Okay, so this is according to Deadline. After this first game back since being suspended by the NBA because of a blow he delivered to the face of Detroit Pistons center Isaiah Stewart as the two fought for a rebound. Lakers superstar LeBron James addressed the incident. Um, and he said, in quote, I think it was warranted an ejection because of what might have happened after that, said James tonight. You know, with me still in the game and excitement from the fans and what could possibly happen after that, obviously, but a suspension, I didn't think it was warranted. Well, the incident became the talk of sports radio and fodder for an entire news cycle on ESPN. With the network's biggest star, Stephen A. Smith, creating his own whirlwind with comments about James. The suspension also removed the NBA's marquee star from a nationally televised matchup on TNT Tuesday night between the Lakers and the New York Knicks, the premier teams in the nation's two biggest television markets. Um, Describing the incident with Stewart from his point of view, James said that he was off balance a little bit and his elbow lifted my arm and I was basically tried to swing down on him or his arm. When when I swing down on his arm, he got a of he got off balance and the side of my hand, grazed his face. I knew right away I had caught some part of his head. So I went over to apologize to him, and obviously you guys see what happened after that. So the Lakers star said the blow was entirely no, the blow was definitely accidental, just like Sabonis played tonight. Okay, so that was referee to Indiana Pacers center Demantis Sabonis, whom whom James spent much of Wednesday evening banging bodies with under the basket. As he spoke, James made his point about Sabonis with a gesture toward a butterfly bondage on a cut above his own right eye. Accidental hit to the eye. Hold on 1 second, folks. I don't know what's going on here. Let me just straighten this thing out here. All right. All right. Let me just continue where I left off here. I'm definitely not the type of player, he continued. I hate to see that and whatever happened after that. Whatever happened after that was a melee in which a furious Stewart tried repeatedly to force his way through the refs. Teammates and coaches trying to restrain him from and get at James. Players from both benches soon became involved, alternately trying to quell the conflict and engage in it. All right. Okay. So next topic has to do with two St. John basketball games. Two additional St. John basketball games postponed because of COVID-19. Well, the Big East announced on Monday that each of St. John's basketball's next two games have been postponed due to COVID-19 issues, with the program unable to trot out the 7 healthy players needed to compete in NCAA games. Damn. It's the third Red Storm game that had been postponed after the team's Big East opener scheduled for December 23rd against Butler was postponed. Wednesday's matchup in Queens against Marquette and Saturday's visit to Georgetown is trying to reschedule by the Big East. If it cannot be moved, the game will be ruled as a no contest or canceled. While Marquette is able to play, Georgetown is experiencing a pause due to issues sparked by the virus. St. John's is dealing with a sizable COVID outbreak amongst its ranks that has impacted some key players. Julian Champagne. Champagne. Oh shit. Joel Soriano and Tarek Coburn were 3 notable players who had tested positive for the virus over the last 2 weeks. Champagne, whose leads St. John's with 20.3 points per game, emerged from quarantine on Sunday, but yet has yet to pass cardiac test, but cardiac test that would give him the green light to play. Of course, with their next 2 games pushed back, the Red Storm's next game is scheduled for January 5th against DePaul, which would be the team's first game in 18 days. Wow. That's some scary shit, man. That is some scary shit, though, man. You know what I mean? That's some scary shit. Um, um, I will say, hold on a second. Let me make sure. Oh, let me cover one more topic and then we'll wrap up. Um, okay, Langston Galloway. All right. Okay. So, sneaker fanatics have always kept a keen eye on the hard work to see which NBA players were bringing the proverbial it to the conversation. Langston Galloway has steadily flexed his sneaker know-how and underrated collection for years, but he set a new standard by unveiling his own sneaker brand. Yes, his own sneaker brand during the 2021 NBA Finals. Okay, the Ethics shoe brand, co-founded with his wife Monica, was the result of an um, arduous process that began with his enrolling in the Harvard Business School and MBA's joint program. Crossover into business after working closely with his footwear designer Brett Galiff. Um, of course, and and various rounds of product sampling with manufacturers. Langston arrived at the IG1, the first ever launch for Ethics. What truly separates the IG1 from products from industry giants is that that the shoe is entirely hand stitched. This type of cut and sew manufacturing is simply unfounded in the current landscape due to mass production practices. Langston himself has been playing and testing the shoe for a year. So to put it simply, they are NBA ready. Um, the Efforts IG1 is available for $120 directly from the Ethics online shop. At least it's not $300 like the Jordans. um, five more colorways of the IG1 are set to launch this year, and the IG2 is currently in development. Mm. Yeah, this is some interesting ill shit though, man. You know, good for this guy, man. Never thought that he'll be able to make a shoe, so we'll see what happens here. So this is just like a wait and see type shit. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, we'll see what happens here, though, man. Um, okay, all right. Let me see how much time I got here. All right, I think we can wrap this up right here. Um, all right, all right. Yeah, that's gonna do it for episode 11. If you like what you heard in today's show or any previous episodes whatsoever, please show some love by making a charitable donation to my Cash App, which is G Money Stacks 555. That's capital G lowercase MONEY, um capital S lowercase TACKZ 555. And once again, it's not about breaking the bank, folks. It's all about doing the best you can on what um amount of money you decide to donate will be appreciated. So don't worry about having a lot of money. That's not the reason. That's not the reason for this. You know what I mean? Um and speaking of which, make sure you turn on your notifications on the following pages that I'm about to say. You can follow the show Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast on Instagram alongside with my other show, Meticulous Vibe Juice. Excuse me, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast review show, and of course my number one show, which is on Facebook and Instagram, Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Podcast. And also you can follow me on the gram, which is G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York, and also 17 Live, G Money Stacks, Queens, New York. All right. Um. Now. Now. Our. I was gonna put the same segment here. Stream choices on the go and stuff, but I might do that after I get off the air and stuff. So yeah. So you want to know where you can listen to the show episodes and stuff like that. So this is where you can listen to the episodes on audio streaming platforms on the go. Yeah, so you can listen to the episodes on Anchor. We are on Audacity. We're on Audible, Amazon Music, Breaker, Cashbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, recent added addition to the streaming platform Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podorama, Podopolo, Podcast Addict, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Reason FM, Spotify. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating on Podfriend, Podchaser, and Spotify. Okay, we are on Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts. Don't forget to listen to Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast Sports Edition show on Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app for music, radio, and podcasts. And last but not least, the YouTube. You go on the YouTube and grab the subscribe button, enable alerts on the notification bell so you can be reminded when the show goes in the air via live stream. And of course, don't forget to leave a like and a comment with the episodes and topics. Stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes that's already been recorded. It'll automatically be uploaded and posted to the Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast Sports Edition show YouTube channel page. Don't forget to download your favorite episodes, share the episodes, share the videos from YouTube, and of course, tell a friend to another friend, spread the word. Tell your boyfriends, tell your girlfriends, tell your wives, your husbands, your friends, and also share the podcast along with audio streaming platforms with the link that says Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast. So there you go, right there. Yeah, so like I said, man, like I always say at the end of the show, man, make sure you be mindful of the people you surround yourself with, especially those in big crowds, whether it's subway trains, whether it's vans, whether it's taxis, of course, whether it's buses, performance venues, movie theaters, all that stuff. And reach out to your loved ones, like your wives, your husbands, your friends, your boyfriends, your girlfriends. Those individuals might be fine on the outside, but on the inside, they are not. So you want to actually make sure that you basically get some empathy and moral support and compassion. There is no good time to reach out to somebody. It's all about doing the best you can to be supportive. Especially for their time in need, as far as like their nightmares of something traumatic, whatever it is. So you don't have to wait for Mental Health Awareness Month and Mental Health Day to actually reach out to somebody. It's all about taking a risk on reaching out to people, because being a risk taker, you are basically going to get rewards. It's all about following your mind, your soul, your heart, and your instincts. No, intuition does not count as part of the senses. It does not count. It does not count as senses. It's 5 senses, not 6. Um, so there you go. Um, you if you have a dream of being a podcaster and you would like to create one like I'm doing right now, with 3 shows underneath of my belt, here's some key important components that you need to start a podcast right here. Actually, there's more than one key component that you need to start a podcast that are important. First and foremost, you need headphones. You also need a microphone. It doesn't have to be anything too expensive. It could be a Yeti. It could be an Voxcon microphone that I'm using, which is one of the models that I brought from Target. Yeah, you can find microphones in Target, where you can find it in Amazon. You can find it in Best Buy. You just name it. You also need a laptop or a computer so you can do live streams. Also, you need a supporting software to do your live streams. So this is where I segue into StreamYard. Now, StreamYard has been an excellent outlook for me because it has better sound quality. It has features where you can create your segments, your social media handles where people can follow your shows and your personal page. It allows you to create your own brand, and you can create an account with StreamYard. All you need to do is put your email address or the podcast show email address on there. And when you do that, you go click on get login code. And when you go to the email address, you're gonna see some numbers. It's gonna be six random numbers. Type in the random numbers that's in the email, and then you should be set. You should be set to go. And what I like about this software is it allows you to send invite links. Like, you can send invite links to your Instagram handles, email addresses, phones. You just name it though, man. And that's pretty much what I like about StreamYard and stuff. It's 5 times better than Zoom. You know what I'm saying? It's 5 times better than Zoom, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you are creating a show and you come up with a unique name, you want to make sure that it is something that nobody has ever heard before. So I much rather be able to be able to help any way I can to because it's all about inspiring people and motivating people into doing their craft. And another thing that's very important is ownership and, of course, creative control when it comes to creating your podcast. It's only you that owns the show, not media corporations, not producers, not engineers. but you matter. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to fucking sell your show to corporations, okay? That's not the reason why you start a podcast. It's not about just making money. It's about doing something what you love, as far as like what you trying to find a skill. Like for me, it took me a while for me to find a skill being behind the mic, practicing how to be energetic behind the mic, which is what I've been doing so far. And it's been working for me ever since. I mean, look at the amount of success that I have with my first podcast that I started in November 2020. And I wanted to break the narrative of a misleading misconception that a person who has a podcast will never make it past 7 to 50 episodes. And I did that. I did that already, man. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me feel good. You know what I mean? And speaking of feel good, you want to check out Anchor, you want to check out the Anchor app. Download your Anchor app to um your, your iPads, your tablets, your Android tablets, your iPhones, your Android phones, your computers, of course, and of course you can or you can check out the website anchor.fm so you can get yourself a head start with some key important tools, especially especially editing, especially adding music intros, outros, all that good stuff is in there. So, there you have it. So listen, man, this has been an awesome, excellent episode 11 of the excellent, fun, vibrant podcast sports edition show. Now, thank you very much to everybody that was listening and tuned in. I'm G Money Stacks. I hope you guys had fun with me, being able to share a little laugh and stuff like that. We do need humor at the end of the day to get away from politics and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm here for. So, make sure you are keeping yourself warm with some hot tea, with some honey, lemon, or lime. And another option is, of course, hot chocolate milk. And if you have any marshmallows, go ahead and add it. Because, and I say this because that is the installation of inspiration. So remember that. Don't forget to chase your goals and dreams or what you love to do as far as making a career out of anything. And anything that you do, you're considered an artist. It's not just music artists and painters. I like to consider myself an artist because I'm a podcaster who creates content for every episode that I record. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's levels to being an artist, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Don't forget to wash your hands with water and soap, hand sanitizer, water, Gatorade with electrolytes for energy and strength. So, thank you so much for listening to me. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully, either today or next Sunday. So yeah, I'm out of here. I'm off this shit. Peace and one love. G Money Stacks signing off. And have yourself a good night.